Hey, everybody, we're going to give it a few minutes for people to trickle in. So give us to about 2 after and we'll get things started. Alrighty, good morning, everybody. I am Emily Drohan, Partner Marketing Manager from Platform Science, and I will be your moderator today. We are finishing up Driver Appreciation Week at Platform Science with a webinar, today featuring Aperia Technologies. Aperia's Halo Drive application allows drivers to run pre-trips and view tire health insights directly from their phone. Today's webinar will be presented by Ryan Holton, the VP of Business Development, and Brian Dugan, VP of Product Management. I do have a few housekeeping notes. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be sent to you via email once available. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please use the Q&A function and we will respond accordingly. There will be a brief survey at the end of the webinar. Please complete this survey to let us know how you thought today's session went. And with that, I will pass it over to Brian and Ryan for today's presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Emily, and thank you everyone for joining. We are going to talk today about how Halo Tire Management is going to, make your fleet much more efficient, increase uptime, and solve a lot of pain points that you might be having today. I'll be walking through your slides. I know we have an hour scheduled. I don't think we're going to take that much time. And then I have Brian here with me, who is really the brains here that will be able to answer any of the tough questions that I might get. But definitely, as questions come up, please do submit them to Emily, and would love to answer them at the end. So before we really get started, I want everyone to think about how often tires cause your vehicles to go down, and not just blow out on the side of the road, but also in your lot before you get when your driver shows up. They do their pre-trip, if they're doing their pre-trip at all, and they have a flat, so they can't get going. Obviously that is very painful, very annoying experience. And what we can help you with today is to really prevent those from happening pretty much at all, and also make it a much more efficient and cheaper fix when it does happen. It's really a big problem in the industry, as everyone probably knows. Fleets are wasting billions of dollars manually and reactively trying to fix tire underinflation. Tires, just given the nature of their design, are going to be leaking through various parts of the tire, but also just through diffusion through the rubber. Air is going to be coming out to the tune of 1 to 3 psi every month, and that's in a perfectly healthy tire. So if you have any other leak, that's going to make that a lot worse. And that the result of that is basically money and disruption to your downtime. Now, if we're going to quantify that, we have so just to take a step back, Aperia has been around since 2010. We started with our Halo tire inflation device. And over the last 2 to 3 years, we released our Halo Connect, which is our predictive analytics device. Through that whole time, though, we've had connected TPMS, if you will. We've been collecting millions and millions and millions of miles of data. And it's, countless times we can show examples of how bad this problem is and how pervasive tire inflation is in fleets, even in fleets that have the top-notch maintenance and tire programs. So here's one example here where you could see that over the course of a few years, the tire inflation level in a truck is going to naturally ebb and wane with the season. So as it gets colder, the air will compress in the tire and your tires will become underinflated. As it warms, you'll get the tire pressure will go up, but because of leakage, you're never going to get back to that tire pressure. And so in this example, you could see that over 50,000 PSI would have been required to keep this one vehicle in its target pressure range over the course of these few years. And you could do that manually, which is expensive and also very hard to do, or you could do that automatically. And what this results in is a much higher likelihood of downtime. So over 20% of vehicle defect crashes are due to tire failure, and the vast majority of those are because tires are underinflated. And a really interesting stat here from TMC is that if you do have an automatic tire inflation system, you're over 2x, you're gonna get 2x more mileage in between unplanned tire downtime events. So going from 35,000 to over 70,000 miles before a vehicle would go down, whether it's a truck or a trailer, from tire underinflation. And you all know better than we do that that is a very costly and quite annoying thing to fix if it does happen. So as I mentioned before, Aperia, we've been around since 2010. We released the Halo tire inflation device, which you see here coming off the hub in 2015. A few years later, we introduced our Halo Connect, and the full package, that full stack of tire inflation plus predictive analytics is what we call Halo Tire Management. And today we have over 1 million miles under management, and that's throughout North America, Australia, and Australia as well. And one thing that we're extremely proud of is how durable this product has proven to be. So we have over 80 billion miles on the Halo with a minuscule warranty return rate. So this thing has been proven countless times in all sorts of different environments, in all sorts of different use cases as well, whether it's in last mile delivery to on highway, to tankers, to dry van, to reefers, all over the place. The Halo is being used and has proven time and time and again to be extremely durable. So let's now talk a bit about breaking down the different parts of Halo tire management and what it can help you with. So on the left here, we have the inflation, which we talked about, as well as kind of the tire monitoring. But then we also, through that monitoring, are able to offer predictive and prescriptive alerts. And I'm sure a lot of people are talking about that in the industry. But what that means for us and what we're delivering to our clients today is a few-fold. So first and foremost, our algorithms that we've been tuning for years now across billions of miles are able to detect an issue with a tire well before a human or your typical TPMS can. We're not doing threshold-based alerting where it gets below, say, 80 or 90 PSI, we flash an alert. Instead, we're looking at actually what is going on with that tire. And so we're able to give you, the fleet operator or the driver, the information that, hey, there's an issue with this tire. hours to days ahead of what a normal TPMS can do. Second, we are actually understanding what is wrong with that tire. So is it just underinflated because of maybe a cold snap came through and the tires, all the tires went under, or is there an actual leak? So we will detect leaks and let you know. And that's really important because that empowers your maintenance team to know how to fix the actual issue. Does this need air, or is this something that I need to check for the leak and then fix the leak, or just replace the tire altogether? And then lastly, we are letting you know how bad this problem is. Is this something that's minor that you could ignore, say for the next 30 days, especially if you have a halo there that's keeping the tire inflated? Or is this something critical that you need to address in, say, the next 4 to 8 hours because there's a very high likelihood that that tire is about to fail? And so we get all of this alerts to wherever you need it most as the fleet operator. So we could give it to you directly. We could give it to your individual regions, the maintenance managers for those groups, or we could give it to your driver through the platform science integration. And then we also have a host of reporting that helps you understand, how well are your technicians keeping on top of things? How well is your tire program overall doing? And then there are some more technician-related reports to help them manage their day-to-day activities to focus on what's most important and when. So what does that look like on a truck? So we have the Halo tire inflator that we mentioned before. That goes right on the hub. Very easy install, about 5 minutes. We'll get into on the next slide really how that works. We do have a gateway that we do put on the truck or the trailer that will be communicating with the sensors and then transmitting that data up to the cloud. And then, as I mentioned, we have the Halo Drive app. So this is a screenshot of what it would look like for your drivers on your platform science devices. And this enables them to do two things. We'll go in a little bit more detail later, but they could do their pre-trip inspection on here, but also get the alerts as they're popping up if there is an issue. All that also can be customized, so you can control as a fleet operator what you want your drivers to see. Do you want them to just see red or green, or do you want to give them the detail? That's completely up to you, and we have fleets that are doing it different ways. We also have a Halo Tech app that's meant obviously for the technicians, and that allows your technicians to do a very easy workflow for installation, and also any sort of diagnostics they want to do, as well as any replacement sensors or what it might be. And then of course we have various different options for the remote viewing for issues as they pop up for the fleet managers. So let's talk about how the Halo works. It looks like a black disc and it's all self-contained. So often we get this question. And it really works. You think about it like a self-winding watch or hub odometer. So it's going to attach to the hub and it uses the rotation of the wheel as you drive to power itself. So there's no batteries in here. We do not need to get any power from the truck, nor do we need to get any air from the truck. So I'm sure almost all of you are very familiar with the central tire inflation systems, the PSIs, the Hendricksons. They're pulling air from the air compressor on the truck. They run that all the way down through your trailer. They're drilling through your axles, out through the wheel ends, and into the tire. And so that, it's obviously very invasive, takes time to do. And if there is an issue, it could be like finding a needle in a haystack to fix. The Halo, we've taken a very different approach to the inflation. It's all self-contained in the device itself. So again, you bolt it on onto the hub, and then you screw in the hoses and the valve stems, and you're off and running. And in this picture here, you can see really the mechanics. So with the number 1 here, that will, again, the Halo will turn with the wheel as you drive. And then we have this horseshoe shaped thing here that is going to sit down because of gravity. So as you're driving, the halo will spin around the blue horseshoe number 2 here, and that creates a relative motion. And then we have a cam and a piston inside, which is represented by number 3 here, that translates that relative rotating motion into reciprocal pumping motion. So we're pulling in air from the outside, compressing it in the halo, and then pushing that air out into the tires, but only when the tires need it. So there is some intelligence here that will turn itself off when the tires are fully inflated to make sure that work is not being done when it's not needed. And because we're completely decentralized and you have individual devices, this will work both on your truck and your trailer. So it's the only inflation device in the market that will work on your trucks, which is great. And that's your tractors, your box trucks, whatever it might be. So now let's talk a little bit about how the Halo Connect works and the various different algorithms. So I have a few other examples later on, but I think this is a good one here where, and let me just walk you through this graph really quick. So the green line up at top is the inflation level of the tire, the specific tire. The dashed black line is the target pressure for this tire. So at 100 PSI is where this tire should be. The gray lines are speed, so you can see when the vehicle is driving. And in this case, you could see that the truck is driving, and so some operational heating has happened. So the tires have gone from their cold inflation target of 100 and increased, which is fully expected. That is what happens every day as tires start to heat up as you drive. And our algorithms in this case, where this blue dot is, detected an issue. And one thing I really like about this example is that in this case, we were able to detect the issue even above your set point. Now, if you have one of your technicians check a tire, they see it's over the target, they're going to see nothing. They're going to think that nothing is wrong with the tire itself, but that is not always the case. So in this instance, we detected the leak. We sent the critical alert here in the red dot. The vehicle keeps driving up until this yellow dot here, which is about a day and a half later, where the fleet scheduled the maintenance, the truck pulled over, and then it was affixed without any downtime. Now, if you just had TPMS and no inflation, that is what's represented by this dashed gray line here. So you would have kept driving, not knowing anything that's going on. At this X mark, at the threshold, that's when a normal TPMS system probably would have alerted you. And you could see that's a day and a half later than when the Halo alerted. And eventually you would have gotten down to a flat, where in this case we were able to avoid it completely. So rolling that back up to a fleet level, what does that look like? So what you see here is on the left, when we run a lot of task control and pilots with various different fleets, and then of course we have deployments in the thousands of vehicles with fleets. So on the left here, you can see what happens if you don't have tire inflation. Well, not surprisingly, when you don't have tire inflation, any issue that comes up, your maintenance team or third-party maintenance team needs to fix. Because there's no automation, there's nothing there that will actually fix the issue. Our clients that do equip Halo, 70% of the issues that you get, the Halos will take care of automatically. And if you roll that all up, that translates to 12x fewer minor issues, 7x fewer major issues, and 2x fewer critical issues. And remember, the critical issues are the ones that are more than likely going to sideline your trucks in a short period of time. So this is driving, very tangible uptime results, but also really eliminating a lot of noise for your technicians. So if you have a TPMS solution that doesn't have inflation, they're going to be getting 12x more alerts, at least on the minor side here. That's really just going to kind of overwhelm them and perhaps even just start ignoring things because all they're getting is just noise and noise and noise. So when you add Halo and Halo Connect, you're really eliminating a lot of that noise, and you're having a proactive solution that's going to fix a lot of the issues. So that way your technicians can really focus on just what's most important. And those are these, critical issues that the Halo can't keep up with because they're bad leaks. In practice, what does a rollout look like? So this is a very typical chart for our clients. So we have, if you're going to come to me, say next week after this call, and say, Ryan, really like what you guys have, would love to try it. And then we, roll it out at some larger level. We have a whole host of team on Brian's team, actually, that will work with you, get everyone trained, but then also customize things to how your fleet likes to operate based on your risk levels, your staffing levels, and really, your use cases. So where are your trucks, how are they managed? And so what happens here is usually at install, you're going to get a lot of alerts because there's a lot of hidden problems in your fleet that have really been going undetected for months. So you're going to get a spike in alerts. The Halo's going to do its magic. But then over time, we're going to also be working with your technicians so they understand really how to rely, trust, and use the Halo Connect system to get ahead and more efficiently tackle problems. And so this curve where you start off with a lot of issues and then they come down very quickly and then flatline at a very low level is, again, very typical and something that we love to see. This is kind of, reiterating a lot of the same thing here, where when you do have the auto inflation paired with the Halo Connect, you're just going to get a lot fewer issues. So you could see here in this instance, the dash line is, control tires in this test. The blue line is with Halo. And so over time, it represented 76% issues. And I think these last two slides are from a top 5 fleet in the US. So a fleet that has, probably some of the best maintenance practices out there, but yet they're still seeing tremendous amount of value from installing Halo and Halo Connect. A couple more examples I want to go with as well, specific ones. So, what I like about this one here really highlights the power of Halo. Here on the left, you have a heat map, if you will, of here are the routes that the truck was driving. So going back and forth between Southern California and looks like Michigan. And in this case, we were able to detect an issue way back in July. For whatever reason, they weren't able to tackle the issue right away. But the Halo really kept pumping. The truck was able to drive over 14,000 miles without any blowout. And in the end, the Halo pumped over 1100 PSI over the course of about 2 weeks before they finally were able to get to the issue and fix it here. So again, it's really like a belt and suspenders approach where the Halo is able to maintain your tires even when you have bad issues. And then you are notified that there is an issue and you're able to pull over the truck and address the issue when it suits your needs. This example I like a lot better because in this case, the fleet was very proactive in getting to the issue. And in this case, the Halo really didn't have to do much because they saw the alert that we sent, or maybe it was the driver, I think in this case. They routed the vehicle to get fixed within a few hours, parked, fixed it, I guess overnight, and then the truck was off and going, which is great. So this is definitely what we like to see. We don't recommend people driving on issues, even if you have a Halo device, but it's always great to know that your Halo is there to allow you to do that if needed, or if for some reason the alert goes unnoticed. Now, I mentioned earlier that we have various different ways to alert your drivers, as well as your technicians. So wanted to spend a little bit more time on the actual app. So this is what is integrated into the Platform Science platform, and it's the Halo Drive app. This allows your drivers to do a few different things. So one, they could just pull out the phone or see on their device, the Platform Science device, that to do their pre-trip. And I think I mentioned earlier, but you can really customize what information your drivers see. Some fleets like to show a little bit of detail to the fleets to give context. Other fleets just want the drivers to see a go or no-go decision, so green or red. So that will take your pre-trip, if they're even doing it today, from say 20 minutes to walk around the truck and check your tires to pretty much instantaneously. We also log that, so we don't log it to the driver, so we don't have any personal information. We log it to the asset, to the truck or trailer, and we could show you and report to you how often that truck or trailer is being inspected, and also the last time it was being inspected. So if an issue happens, you could say, okay, did the driver do the inspection prior to that trip, prior to that issue popping up, and what did the tire look like when they did that inspection? Then we also have alerting through this app. So once they start driving the truck, we will be pushing, or we push out the alerts so that the driver can see them. Similar with what I was saying before in the pre-trip, you can fully customize what the driver is seeing. So out of the box, I think we suggest that you only show critical alerts so they don't get too much noise with minors or majors. And so they're really just seeing critical ones, which are the ones that will impact their potential uptime. This also is in the process of being integrated with Platform Science DVIR app. So shortly that will be part of that flow, so that it's going to be the entire DVIR process can be in just one app, one smooth flow. So I mentioned that we have custom alerting for the app. We also have it for all of the alerting that we do, however you want it, through our APIs, through emails, through the app, as I mentioned. And this is really can be really important depending on how your fleet is set up and how big it is. But some fleets, depending on the type of truck it is, type of load it is, might want to have a more critical message, a more time-sensitive message in what we alert on. Or they want maybe a different ERS phone number, depending on which region you're in. So there's all sorts of different things that you can add here to really give you the flexibility to manage your fleet, as efficiently and as flexibly as possible. One other feature that a lot of our operators really like, that's actually new, is this asset tracking feature. So you'll be able to see all of your trucks as well as your trailers in one single map view, with various different filters to remove the clutter and allow you to focus on really what you want at that time. So if you want to look at, okay, what are all the trucks today that have an issue in, say, Texas, you could just zoom in on Texas, click a few filters, and then those will just pop up. And so maybe if someone's managing your vehicles in Texas, that's the view that they'll want to look at and understand where the trucks are that they need to address in the next day or two, and where they are. So that was a lot of features, a lot of different parts of the product. So now I want to kind of roll it all back up to show what are some of the results. What are users seeing that have adopted this? So here is a very large case study that we've done across multiple thousands of trucks with one of our largest clients. And what you can see in this graph is that before Halo, or really right when we installed, the pressure distribution across the fleet was not only very wide, but it was centered very much to the left in this graph. So over 80 something PSI, when they're all supposed to be I think at 100, 105. So everything was not only all over the place, but it was underinflated. they installed Halo, they installed Halo Connect, so they have the whole Halo tire management solution, and that quickly compressed that distribution and in the optimal range, which is exactly what you want to see. And so at the end of the day, what were the results? So we had 1.9% MPG improvement, over an 18% tire life reduction, and a 90% reduction in ERS blowouts and tire-related downtime. So massive, massive savings here, both on the dollar level, so almost $2,000 a truck per year, but also on a sustainability level. So, that's not important for everybody, but some fleets are caring more and more and more about that. And so in this case, that these savings translated to over 2 metric tons of carbon per year. Now, you scale that up across their whole fleet, and you're talking over $10 million and over 12,000 metric tons of carbon. So massive, massive impact. And because we did this over so many thousands of trucks, this was very statistically significant. So it was like 99.9999. So it's something that we're obviously very happy with. The client is very happy with, and they're continuing to roll out as they're purchasing new trucks. In general, what do fleets say, right? Not every fleet is the same, but in general, the savings that you're going to get are across a few different pieces here. So the fuel in the tune of 1 to 3%, tires in the tune of 10 to 20%, extended tire life, very large reduction in ERS, and we see this time and time and again from our fleets. And again, that's not just because when a leak comes, the Halo is keeping it up and going, or we alert of a problem, is that most of your tire issues start because there's not enough air in the tire. It wears out the tire faster. It starts putting extra friction and pressure on your sidewalls, and that really wears them down quickly, and that's what causes a lot of these issues. So we're both preventing them, but then also when they do manifest, we are fixing them and letting you know that they're an issue. So there's a lot of productivity gains as well, both from you as a manager, but also on your techs, because they're not checking and filling tires kind of randomly or on some preset schedule. Instead, a lot of the filling in tires handled by the Halo, and then your fleet manager, so your technicians can just go to the tires that they know they need some touching and some help. And then, if you're going to roll that up on 1,000 truck fleet, over across 5 years, you're going to see quite a bit of savings to the tune of over 9 million. Payback from our clients are typically in the 8 to 18 months range, depending on a host of things. How much you drive is one of the bigger things. So the more you drive, the more you're going to save. And again, there's a big measurable, meaningful sustainability impact here. And to close, really wanted to kind of, there's a lot of stuff out in the market today, whether it's TPMS, whether it's some sort of predictive TPMS or tire inflation. And we have taken the two and married them into what we think is the best top of the line tire management program out there, and that's the Halo Tire Management. So again, it's going to be able to do this in your truck and your trailer, not just one of those vehicles. We're eliminating tire under inflation, very quick install, low amount of maintenance, and really getting ahead of any of the problems with our predictive alerting, and letting you know what to tackle and when. So if you'd like any more information, I think you all have my email. We also have a phone number and a website, or you can contact your platform science rep as well to get more information. So Emily, I think that's it. If there's some questions.
Yeah, I do have a few questions. First question that came in is, what is the life of a Halo? How many miles can it last?
Yeah, good question. So We have really designed it to match trade cycle of truck. So what we call the life is, we say it's five years, 500,000 miles. Now, saying that, we've had and have halos out there over 1 million at this point. So at 5 years, that doesn't mean the halo breaks or falls off your truck. It just means it loses some of its pumping power. So it's still going to pump. It's still going to work. It just pumps a little slower than normal. It's actually one of the good things about the halo that I forgot to mention, is because it's so easy to get on and off, is that you do need to replace the halo. One, you don't even you could just take it off and your driver can drive and at the next shop you can put another one on, or you just swap it in and out. And again, it's very, very quick, very, very easy. So you're not going to be tying up one of your bays for hours, or any of your technicians' time for hours. It's very quick.
Okay, thank you. Our next question here is, can I use Halo Analytics on top of any CTIS system?
Yes, you can actually. So for those of you that already have an inflation system on your trailers and you're very happy with it, you can use the Halo Connect system, which is our predictive sensing and alerting system, on top of really no inflation system. So we do have a few clients that don't have Halo, but they do have that, and you can use it on top of whatever pre-existing inflation system on the trailer. Obviously, we'd prefer you to have Halo, but completely understand that you've already made investments, or you might just really like it, and that's fine too. So yes, we can put it on top of those as well.
Great. And then the last question I have here is there a ranking system to distinguish how serious tire issues are?
Yes, there is. So we have 3 classifications in terms of how bad things are. So we have critical, major, and minor. And we do sit down with you upon rollout and have a conversation about risk. So depending on what you're hauling, how dispersed your routes are, how dispersed your operations are, what might be critical for one fleet might be very different for another. So for example, if you're a tanker fleet and you're hauling diesel, your idea of criticality is going to be much, much higher than perhaps a dry van fleet hauling potato chips. So we will work with you to customize and set, based on your risk levels, what you think is critical, major, and minor. And then on top of that, we are telling you what's wrong with it, right? So you could just have, say, critical under inflation, but if you have a halo there, then that's going to let you know, or maybe feel good, that the halo is going to counteract that under inflation and hopefully even fix it. Now, if we have a critical leak, now that's probably a bigger deal, because not only is the tire underinflated, but it's losing air probably rapidly. And so in that instance, those are probably the ones that you're going to want to focus on even more.
Thank you. Another question that came in is, I noticed in your example, Halo Tire Management appeared to send an alert before pressure fell below target pressure. How does it do that?
Brian, do you want to take that one?
Sure. And I think it actually speaks to the other question that just came in too. We are not using threshold-based leak detection. We are actually looking at the pressure trends using some advanced machine learning algorithms, so that we're looking for changes in pressure, not necessarily hitting specific pressures or losing a certain amount of pressure. So it's very common, as in the example, for us to detect an issue when the pressure is actually above the set point due to tire heating. And we can detect that very, very early in those leaks, so that we can give the maximum amount of time for somebody to intervene on the tire without downtime. So we are very proud and happy of that algorithm and how well it works for our customers. And we think it's one of the things that really sets us apart.
Thank you for that. And then, yeah, this is the final question, which you kind of touched on. Other systems seem to only detect leaks that drop pressure more than 10 PSI per hour. Is that how your leak alerts are set up as well?
Yeah, so again, it's not based on losing a certain amount of pressure in a certain amount of time. We're really looking at, how is this tire behaving? How are all the other tires on the truck behaving? And trying to understand, is there an issue here? And then classifying the severity of that so that customers can choose to respond really aggressively to a critical alert, and there's something that's more minor, wait until they can really conveniently intervene on the truck, ideally at a PM or something like that.
Okay. Another question here is, how have you tested your sensors? We've seen many issues with sensor reliability with TPMS before.
Yeah, so all of our equipment is mounted on the end of the wheel, so it's all unsuspended and in a very harsh environment. So we become very good at testing all types of hardware, both electric and mechanical, in all of the conditions that our vehicles experience. So extreme colds, extreme heat, extreme changes in temperature, vibration, shock, water exposure, salt exposure, everything that you could think of that's going to happen on the end of the wheel end. We put all of our sensors and our inflators through the same batteries of tests. And we've become very good at finding weak spots or vulnerabilities in the reliability and durability of these sensors, and working to resolve those before that equipment's in the field.
And one other thing I'd add to that, Brian, is that I forgot to mention in the presentation, so sorry about that, is we do have a very robust diagnostic suite that is looking at all aspects of health of the various hardware components that we have. So it's not a case where you're going to install a bunch of stuff and you're going to have no idea the health of it or be required to check yourself. We are able to do that all remotely and automatically. And so I think that's something that many of our clients have found perhaps unique and also very, very helpful. And they're very thankful that we're able to do that.
Great, thank you. We have one more question that just came in. Is Halo inflation also available on steer axles, or is it just Halo Connect?
Yeah, so right now, the Halo inflation device is not available on steer axles. I mean, technically it would work, but it would stick out. You'd have some sort of like Ben-Hur chariot thing that most people don't want. So as of now today, we do not offer Halo inflation on the steer. However, we do have those tires under management because that's part of the Halo Connect, where we're monitoring all of your tires on the vehicle.
Okay, one more just came in. How do most of your clients spec your equipment? Just Halo or the combined product?
Yeah, it's a good, very interesting question. I mean, Halo we released many years ago. So 2015 is when we first released it. And so a lot of our legacy clients are, they all have Halo for the most part. And Halo Connect is relative to that more on the newer side. So we have most of our clients that are at least trying it right now on top of their Halo. And what we found is that the really large clients, the mega fleets have been the first ones to really jump in because they have so many tires on the road at any given time that inflation is amazing and it helps, but they also want eyes and ears on everything and be able to see what's going on in their tire program at any given time. And so it's really the combination of the Halo and Halo Connect that has really gotten us across the finish line with, again, some of the largest fleets in the country. And so for those really large fleets, I'd say much more are having the whole Halo tire management, the full stack system. And then in say 1,500, 2,000 trucks, that's growing pretty quickly. So it's over the majority have the whole Halo tire management system, but there's still some people that are still kind of warming up to the idea.
Great, thank you for those answers. I don't see any other questions right at this moment. So I just want to thank both Ryan and Brian today for your presentation. As I said earlier, the webinar was recorded and it's going to be sent out once available. And if you have any specific questions about Halo or Aperia technologies, please reach out to the team or Platform Science representatives and we can direct those questions. So thank you both again for presenting today and finishing up our Driver Appreciation Week.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good day.